The quiet power of consistency. You are loud about your intentions. You talk about what you are going to do. You post about your goals. You announce your plans. You declare your commitments. You make promises about who you are going to become. And then, quietly, when nobody is watching, you quit. You stop. You give up. You abandon everything you said you were going to do. Not with a public announcement, not with a dramatic exit, quietly, silently, without anyone noticing, except you. You notice. You know you quit. Again. And you tell yourself it does not matter. Nobody was watching anyway. Nobody knew you were trying. Nobody was counting on you. So it does not matter that you stopped. But it does matter. It matters more than you realize. Because every time you quit quietly, you reinforce the pattern. Every time you stop when nobody is watching, you prove to yourself that your word does not mean anything. Every time you abandon commitments you made to yourself, you erode your self-trust. And eventually, you stop believing yourself when you make promises, because you have a track record of not keeping them. That is where you are right now. You do not trust yourself. You do not believe yourself when you say you are going to do something, because you have said it before, many times, and you have not done it. Many times. So now when you make a new commitment, when you set a new goal, when you declare a new intention, there is a voice in the back of your mind saying, sure you are, just like the last time, and the time before that, and the time before that, and that voice is right, because you have a pattern of starting, a pattern of stopping, a pattern of saying and not doing, a pattern of loudness without follow-through, a pattern of promises without performance. But there is another pattern, a different pattern, a pattern that changes everything, the pattern of consistency, not loud consistency, not announced consistency, not posted about consistency. Quiet consistency, the kind that does not make noise, the kind that does not seek attention, the kind that does not need applause, the kind that just shows up, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, doing the same thing over and over, whether anyone notices or not, whether anyone cares or not, whether anyone applauds or not, just showing up, just doing the work, just being faithful, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. That is power, real power. Not the power that comes from one dramatic moment, not the power that comes from one impressive performance, not the power that comes from one viral post, but the power that comes from showing up every single day, the power that comes from doing what you said you would do, the power that comes from keeping commitments nobody else knows about, the power that comes from being the same person in private that you claim to be in public. That is the quiet power of consistency, and it changes everything. Proverbs 28:20 tells you, a faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. A faithful person, not a talented person, not a gifted person, not a lucky person, a faithful person, someone who is consistent, someone who shows up, someone who keeps commitments, someone who does what they said they would do. That person will be richly blessed, not might be blessed, will be blessed. Because faithfulness, consistency, showing up day after day, that is what God rewards. Not one-time efforts, not sporadic attempts, not occasional bursts of energy. Consistent faithfulness, quiet reliability, steady perseverance. But you are not consistent. You are sporadic. You are up and down. You are hot and cold. You are all in one week and completely out the next week. You start strong. You are motivated at the beginning. You are committed in the first few days. And then life happens. You get busy. You get tired. You get distracted. You get discouraged. And you stop. Not permanently, just temporarily. You tell yourself you will start again tomorrow, or next week, or next month. But tomorrow turns into next week turns into next month, and next month turns into never. And another commitment dies. Another goal gets abandoned. Another promise gets broken, and the pattern continues. And you wonder why you are not seeing results. You wonder why nothing is changing. You wonder why you are stuck. It is not because you lack ability. It is not because you lack potential. It is not because you lack opportunity. It is because you lack consistency. You do not show up. You do not follow through. You do not do what you said you would do, not once in a while, every day. And that inconsistency, that starting and stopping, that on and off pattern, that is what is keeping you stuck. That is what is preventing breakthrough. That is what is blocking progress. Because here is what you need to understand. Results do not come from what you do occasionally. Results come from what you do consistently. You do not get in shape from working out once. You get in shape from working out consistently. You do not build wealth from saving money once. You build wealth from saving consistently. You do not strengthen relationships from being kind once. You strengthen relationships from being kind consistently. You do not grow spiritually from praying once. You grow spiritually from praying consistently. Everything that matters, everything that creates lasting change, everything that produces real results, requires consistency, not occasional effort, not sporadic attempts, not periodic bursts. Consistent, daily, relentless showing up, and that is what you are not doing. You show up occasionally, you try sporadically, you burst periodically, but you do not show up consistently. You do not work relentlessly. You do not persist daily. And that is why you are not seeing results. Not because the process does not work, because you are not working the process. Not because the system is broken, because you are not executing the system. Not because change is impossible, because you are not being consistent. James 1:22-25 confronts this directly. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in a mirror and, after looking at himself, goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Do what it says. Not just know what it says, do it. And continues in it. Not does it once, continues. That is consistency. That is the pattern that produces blessing. Not hearing, not knowing, not agreeing, doing, continuously, consistently, relentlessly. That person will be blessed in what they do. Not the person who knows a lot, the person who does consistently. Not the person who has great intentions, the person who has consistent action. Not the person who makes big promises, the person who keeps small commitments, day after day, week after week, month after month. That is who gets blessed. That is who sees results. That is who experiences breakthrough. You know what consistency is? Consistency is doing what you said you would do, whether you feel like it or not, whether it is convenient or not, whether you see immediate results or not, whether anyone notices or not, whether anyone cares or not. Just doing it, because you said you would, because you made a commitment, because your word means something. That is consistency. And it is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not seek attention. It does not need validation. It just does the work, day after day, faithfully, reliably, predictably. And that reliability is powerful, because unreliable people cannot be trusted with anything significant. Inconsistent people cannot be given important assignments. People who start and stop cannot be depended on when it matters. So they get passed over. They get overlooked. They get left behind. Not because they lack talent, because they lack consistency. Not because they lack potential, because they lack reliability. Not because they cannot do it, because they will not keep doing it. But consistent people, reliable people, people who show up day after day regardless of how they feel, those people get opportunities. Those people get promotions. Those people get blessed. Not because they are more talented, because they are more dependable. Not because they are more gifted, because they are more faithful. Not because they are better, because they are consistent. And consistency beats talent, beats potential, beats everything, when talent and potential are inconsistent. Let me tell you about Noah. Genesis 6 tells us God told Noah to build an ark, a massive boat in the middle of dry land, when it had never rained, for a flood that nobody believed was coming. And the ark was not small. It was 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. That is massive. That is approximately 1.5 million cubic feet of space. That is 510 boxcars of a train. And God told Noah to build it by hand with primitive tools. And it took 120 years. 120 years. Let that sink in. 120 years of building, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. For over a century, building a boat on dry land while everyone mocked, everyone ridiculed, everyone said he was crazy, while no rain came, while no flood appeared, while no evidence existed that he was right. For 120 years, he just kept building, kept working, kept showing up, consistently, faithfully, quietly. Genesis 6:22 records it simply. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Everything, not some things, everything. Just as God commanded, not his own way, God's way, for 120 years. That is consistency. That is faithfulness. That is the quiet power of showing up every single day for over a century, doing what God said to do, even when it made no sense, even when nobody believed him, even when circumstances did not confirm it. He just kept building, consistently. And when the flood came, when the rain started, when the judgment arrived, Noah was ready. Not because he made one dramatic effort, because he made consistent daily effort for 120 years. You want breakthrough, but you are not willing to show up consistently. You want results, but you are not willing to work faithfully. You want the flood that validates your work, but you are not willing to build the ark day after day when nobody believes you. You want the moment of vindication, but you are not willing to endure the years of preparation. You want Noah's deliverance, but you are not willing to have Noah's consistency. And that is why you do not have Noah's testimony. Not because God is not faithful, because you are not consistent. What if God is asking you to build something? What if he has given you an assignment that seems impossible? What if he has called you to a task that nobody understands? What if he has placed a vision in your heart that looks crazy to everyone else? Are you going to build consistently, day after day, year after year, decade after decade if necessary? Or are you going to quit when it gets hard? Stop when people mock. Give up when you do not see immediate results, because your consistency determines whether you experience what God promised. Your faithfulness determines whether you see the breakthrough. Your willingness to show up when nobody believes determines whether you get the testimony. Hebrews 11:7 says, "By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. By faith, he built. He did not just believe, he built, consistently, for 120 years. That is faith in action. That is belief demonstrated through consistent work. That is trust proven through daily faithfulness. And that faith, that consistent building, that daily showing up, made him heir of righteousness, made him deliverer of his family, made him survivor of judgment. Not one dramatic act, consistent daily acts over 120 years. You know what kills most people? Not lack of one big opportunity, lack of daily consistency in the season before the opportunity. They are not ready when opportunity comes because they did not show up consistently when nobody was watching. They were not faithful in small things, so they do not get trusted with big things. They did not build consistently in the hidden years, so they have nothing to show in the visible moments. And they blame God. They blame circumstances. They blame lack of opportunity. But the real problem is lack of consistency, lack of daily faithfulness, lack of showing up when nobody cared. Consistency is quiet because it does not need to announce itself. It speaks through results. It testifies through outcomes. It proves itself through time. You do not need to tell people you are consistent. They see it. They experience it. They rely on it. Your consistency becomes your reputation. Your reliability becomes your brand. Your faithfulness becomes your testimony. Not through what you say, through what you do, day after day, without fail, without excuse, without announcement. And that quiet consistency is more powerful than loud inconsistency. The person who posts about their goals every day but never achieves them is less powerful than the person who never posts but achieves consistently. The person who talks about their commitments but never keeps them is less influential than the person who quietly keeps every commitment. The person who makes big promises but does not follow through is less trustworthy than the person who makes small promises and always follows through. Because people do not trust words anymore. They have heard too many promises that were not kept. They have seen too many commitments that were abandoned. They have witnessed too many declarations that meant nothing. So they do not listen to what you say. They watch what you do, and they watch consistently. And if what you do consistently does not match what you say loudly, they do not trust you. They do not believe you. They do not rely on you. Because your consistency speaks louder than your words. Your actions over time speak louder than your promises in a moment. Psalm 15:4 describes the person who walks with God, who keeps an oath even when it hurts and does not change their mind. Keeps an oath even when it hurts. That is consistency. Not keeping commitments when it is easy. Keeping them when it is hard. Not showing up when you feel like it. Showing up when you do not feel like it. Not being faithful when it is convenient. Being faithful when it is costly. That is the consistency that matters. That is the faithfulness that God honors. That is the reliability that produces blessing. But you change your mind. You quit when it hurts. You stop when it becomes difficult. You abandon commitments when they become inconvenient. And you wonder why God does not bless you. Why doors do not open for you. Why opportunities do not come to you. It is not because God is withholding. It is because you are inconsistent. It is not because you are unqualified. It is because you are unreliable. It is not because you lack potential. It is because you lack follow-through. And until you develop consistency, until you become reliable, until you keep commitments, even when they hurt, you will not receive what God has for you. Not because He does not want to give it, because you are not ready to steward it. Let me tell you what consistency looks like practically. It looks like waking up at the same time every day, even when you do not want to. It looks like praying every morning, even when you do not feel like it. It looks like reading your Bible daily, even when you are tired. It looks like working out regularly, even when you are exhausted. It looks like eating healthy consistently, even when you crave junk food. It looks like being kind to your spouse daily, even when they irritate you. It looks like being patient with your children constantly, even when they frustrate you. It looks like working with excellence every day, even when nobody notices. It looks like saving money regularly, even when you want to spend it. It looks like showing up on time always, even when it is inconvenient. Consistency is not exciting. It is not glamorous. It is not impressive in the moment. It is just showing up, doing what you said you would do, keeping commitments, being reliable, day after day, without drama, without fanfare, without applause, just quietly, steadily, faithfully, doing what needs to be done. And that quiet faithfulness compounds over time. It accumulates, it builds, and eventually, it produces results that are impressive, outcomes that are significant, testimony that is powerful. But most people never get there, because they quit before the compounding happens. They stop before the accumulation becomes visible. They give up before the building becomes noticeable. They abandon consistency right before it would have produced breakthrough, right before it would have created results, right before it would have generated testimony. They quit. And they miss everything consistency was building, everything faithfulness was creating, everything reliability was producing. Galatians 6-9 warns you about this. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Let us not become weary. Do not get tired of showing up. Do not get exhausted from being consistent. Do not get discouraged from being faithful. For at the proper time, not your time, God's time, the right time, the perfect time, we will reap a harvest. Not might reap, will reap. That is guaranteed. That is promised. That is certain. But only if we do not give up. Only if we do not quit. Only if we remain consistent. Only if we keep showing up. Only if we stay faithful. The harvest is coming. The breakthrough is approaching. The results are building. But they come at the proper time, after the consistent work, after the faithful showing up, after the reliable performance, after you have proven that you will keep doing what you said you would do, whether you see results or not, whether anyone notices or not, whether it feels productive or not. That is when the harvest comes. That is when breakthrough arrives. That is when results become visible. But only if you do not give up. Only if you remain consistent. Only if you keep showing up. You are in the season before the harvest right now. The season where you are working consistently but not seeing results yet. The season where you are showing up faithfully but nothing seems to be changing. The season where you are being reliable but nobody seems to notice, and you are tired, you are discouraged, you are wondering if it is worth it, if consistency even matters, if faithfulness makes a difference. And you are tempted to quit, tempted to stop, tempted to give up on being consistent because consistency does not seem to be producing anything. But that is exactly when you must not quit. That is exactly when consistency matters most. That is exactly when faithfulness proves itself. Because anyone can be consistent when they see results. Anyone can be faithful when progress is visible. Anyone can keep showing up when everyone is applauding. But can you be consistent when you do not see results? Can you be faithful when progress is invisible? Can you keep showing up when nobody is watching? That is the question. That is the test. That is what separates those who experience harvest from those who quit before harvest arrives. And the enemy knows this. That is why he attacks your consistency. That is why he whispers that it does not matter. That is why he suggests you take a break. That is why he implies that one day off will not hurt. Because he knows that one day becomes 2 days. 2 days becomes a week becomes a month, and before you know it, you have abandoned consistency completely. You have stopped showing up. You have quit being faithful, and the harvest you were 1 day away from reaping gets forfeited. The breakthrough you were 1 week away from experiencing gets abandoned. The results you were 1 month away from seeing get sacrificed. All because you broke consistency. Do not let that happen. Do not quit now. Do not stop when you are so close. Do not abandon consistency when it is about to produce breakthrough. Because the quiet power of consistency is this. It always produces results. Always. It just takes longer than you want, longer than you expect, longer than feels reasonable. But it always works. Always produces harvest. Always creates breakthrough. Always generates results. If you do not quit, if you do not stop, if you do not give up, if you remain consistent, if you keep showing up, if you stay faithful. Let me tell you about Daniel. Daniel 6:10 records something remarkable. Now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. Just as he had done before. That phrase is everything. It reveals that Daniel's prayer life was not reactionary. It was not situational. It was not based on circumstances. It was consistent. 3 times a day, every day, just as he had done before, for years, for decades, consistently, faithfully, reliably. And when a law was passed making prayer illegal, when praying to God became punishable by death, when consistency in prayer meant being thrown into a lion's den, Daniel did not change. He did not adapt. He did not hide. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he had done before, because his consistency was not based on favorable circumstances. His faithfulness was not dependent on safety. His reliability was not conditional on convenience. He was consistent because that is who he was. not because of what it would get him, because of who he was committed to being. And that consistency, that faithfulness, that reliability, positioned Daniel for deliverance. God shut the mouths of the lions. Daniel survived the night. And the next morning, Daniel 6:23 records, the king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him, because he had trusted in his God. No wound was found on him, not because of one powerful prayer, because of decades of consistent prayer, not because of one act of faith, because of a lifetime of faithful consistency, not because he prayed extra hard that night, because he had prayed consistently every day for years. Consistency in the hidden years protected him in the dangerous moment. Faithfulness when nobody was watching delivered him when everyone was watching. Reliability in small prayers positioned him for miraculous deliverance in the big test. That is the quiet power of consistency. It builds something in the hidden years that protects you in the visible years. It develops something in the boring seasons that delivers you in the dramatic seasons. It creates something through daily faithfulness that manifests as supernatural intervention in crisis moments. But you only pray when you need something. You only seek God when you have a problem. You only show up when circumstances are difficult. And then you wonder why God does not deliver you like he delivered Daniel. It is not because God is not faithful. It is because you are not consistent. It is not because God plays favorites. It is because Daniel had built a relationship through consistency that you have not built. It is not because you prayed wrong. It is because you did not pray consistently. Daniel's consistency positioned him for deliverance. Your inconsistency disqualifies you from it. And that is true in every area of life. Consistent prayer builds relationship with God that produces supernatural intervention. Consistent Bible reading builds faith that withstands pressure. Consistent worship builds intimacy that transforms character. Consistent serving builds humility that positions for elevation. Consistent giving builds generosity that attracts blessing. Consistent faithfulness in small things builds trustworthiness that qualifies for big things. Consistency in every area produces results in every area, but only if you remain consistent. Only if you keep showing up. Only if you stay faithful. The quiet power of consistency is that it does not need to defend itself. It does not need to explain itself. It does not need to justify itself. It simply is. And people see it, and people trust it, and people rely on it. Your boss does not need to wonder if you will show up. You show up every day, on time, ready to work. Your spouse does not need to question if you will be kind. You are kind every day, regardless of how you feel. Your children do not need to doubt if you will be there. You are there every day, present and engaged. Your friends do not need to worry if you will follow through. You follow through every time, without fail. That reliability is powerful. More powerful than talent, more powerful than charisma, more powerful than connections, because reliable people can be trusted. And people in positions of authority are always looking for people they can trust, always seeking people who are reliable, always searching for people who are consistent, not because those people are perfect, because those people are dependable, not because those people never fail, because those people always show up, not because those people never struggle, because those people never quit. And when authority figures find reliable people, when they identify consistent people, when they discover faithful people, they give them opportunities. They open doors. They provide platforms. They extend influence. Not because those people are the most talented, because those people are the most trustworthy. Not because those people are the most gifted, because those people are the most dependable. Not because those people are the best, because those people are the most consistent. Luke 16:10 establishes this principle. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Trusted with very little. That is where it starts. Small things, hidden things, things nobody sees, things nobody celebrates. things that seem insignificant. But faithfulness in those small things, consistency in those hidden things, reliability in those insignificant things, that qualifies you for much. That positions you for greater responsibility, that prepares you for bigger assignments. But you despise small things. You resent hidden things. You think you are too good for insignificant things, so you are inconsistent in them. You are unreliable in them. You are unfaithful in them. And then you wonder why you do not get bigger opportunities, why you do not receive greater responsibilities, why you do not access higher levels. It is not because those things are being withheld from you. It is because you have not proven trustworthy in small things. You have not demonstrated consistency in hidden things. You have not shown reliability in insignificant things. And until you do not get access to much. You stay in little. You remain in small. You are stuck in insignificant, not as punishment, as protection, because giving much to someone who is not faithful in little destroys them. So God keeps you in small until you prove consistent. He keeps you in hidden until you demonstrate faithfulness. He keeps you in insignificant until you show reliability, not because He does not want to promote you, because promotion before preparation destroys. Not because He does not want to bless you, because blessing before character corrupts. Not because He does not want to elevate you, because elevation before consistency eliminates. So He keeps you in small, hidden, insignificant places until you develop the consistency necessary to steward large, visible, significant places. And if you resent the small, if you quit in the hidden, if you are inconsistent in the insignificant, you never get to the large, visible, significant. You stay stuck, not because of God, because of you, because of your inconsistency, because of your unreliability, because of your unfaithfulness in small things. But here is the beautiful truth. Consistency compounds, faithfulness multiplies, reliability accumulates. Every day you show up counts. Every day you are faithful matters. Every day you are reliable builds. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Nothing is insignificant. Every consistent act is recorded. Every faithful moment is noticed. Every reliable day is building something. Building character, building trust, building testimony, building platform, building influence, building authority, building everything you need for where God is taking you. Proverbs 10:4 tells you, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Diligent hands, not talented hands, not lucky hands. Diligent hands, hands that work consistently, hands that show up regularly, hands that perform faithfully. Those hands bring wealth, not just financial wealth. Wealth in every area, wealth of character, wealth of influence, wealth of testimony, wealth of opportunity, wealth of blessing. All because of diligence, all because of consistency, all because of showing up and doing the work day after day. But lazy hands make for poverty. And in this context, laziness is not doing nothing. Laziness is inconsistency. Laziness is working sporadically. Laziness is showing up occasionally. Laziness is performing when you feel like it. That laziness, that inconsistency, that unreliability produces poverty. Poverty of character, poverty of influence, poverty of opportunity, poverty of testimony, poverty of blessing. Not because God is withholding, because inconsistency prevents receiving, because unreliability blocks accessing, because unfaithfulness prohibits stewarding. You want wealth, but you have lazy hands, not hands that do nothing, hands that are inconsistent, hands that start and stop, hands that show up occasionally, and those hands cannot produce wealth, cannot create lasting results, cannot generate sustainable blessing, because wealth, real wealth in any area, is built through consistent effort over time, not sporadic bursts of energy, not occasional attempts at excellence, not periodic commitments that fade. Consistent, daily, relentless work. That is what produces wealth. That is what creates results. That is what generates blessing. In every area, every time, without exception. So stop making excuses for your inconsistency. Stop justifying your unreliability. Stop defending your unfaithfulness. Just start showing up. Just start being consistent. Just start doing what you said you would do. Every day, without excuse, without justification, without defense. Just show up, do the work, keep the commitment, be faithful, be reliable, be consistent, quietly, without announcement, without applause, without recognition. Just be consistent. Day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and watch as that quiet consistency produces powerful results, as that hidden faithfulness creates visible breakthrough, as that unremarkable reliability generates remarkable testimony. But you have to start, and you have to start today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more motivated. Today, right now. Make a commitment, one commitment, not 10, one, and keep it. Today, tomorrow, the next day, and the day after that. String together 7 consistent days, then string together 30, then string together 90, then string together 365, one day at a time, one commitment kept at a time, one faithful act at a time, building consistency, developing reliability, creating the pattern of faithfulness that positions you for blessing. And do not make it complicated. Do not commit to something elaborate. Do not create an overwhelming system. Keep it simple. What is one thing you can do every single day that moves you toward your goal? What is one action you can take daily that aligns with your purpose? What is one commitment you can keep consistently that builds toward your vision? Identify that one thing and do it. Every day, no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what else is happening, no matter who is watching or not watching, just do it consistently and let that one consistent thing become your foundation. Your proof to yourself that you can be consistent, your demonstration that you can be reliable, your evidence that you can be faithful. And when that one thing becomes consistent, when that one commitment is solid, when that one action is automatic, add another, but not before. Do not try to do everything at once. Do not attempt to transform your entire life overnight. Do not commit to 20 things and keep none of them. Commit to one thing and keep it, consistently, until it becomes part of who you are, until it becomes automatic, until you do not even think about it anymore. And then add another, and another, and another. Building consistency, one commitment at a time. Building reliability, one action at a time. Building faithfulness, one day at a time. Romans 12:11 instructs you, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Keep your spiritual fervor, not lose it after a week, not abandon it after a month. Keep it, maintain it, sustain it. How? Serving the Lord, consistently, faithfully, regularly, not when you feel like it, not when it is convenient, not when others are watching. Always, consistently, reliably. That is how you keep spiritual fervor. That is how you maintain passion. That is how you sustain commitment. Through consistent action, through faithful serving, through reliable showing up. Because feelings follow action. You do not wait until you feel like being consistent to be consistent. You be consistent and the feelings come. You do not wait until you feel spiritual fervor to serve. You serve and spiritual fervor develops. You do not wait until you feel motivated to show up. You show up and motivation follows. This is backwards from what you think. You think you need to feel it first, then do it. But the truth is, you do it first, then you feel it. You act first, then emotion follows. You show up first, then motivation comes. So stop waiting to feel like being consistent. You will never feel like it. Stop waiting to be motivated. Motivation is a result, not a cause. Stop waiting for perfect circumstances. They will never come. Just start. Just show up. Just do what you said you would do. And as you do it, as you show up, as you act consistently, the feelings will follow. The motivation will develop. The passion will grow. But it comes after action, not before. After consistency, not before. After faithfulness, not before. And here is what happens when you become consistent, when you develop reliability, when you prove faithful, God begins to trust you with more. People begin to depend on you for more. Opportunities begin to open that were not available before. Doors begin to unlock that were previously closed. Favor begins to manifest that was not accessible, all because of consistency, all because of reliability, all because of faithfulness. Not because you became more talented, because you became more dependable, not because you became more gifted, because you became more consistent. Not because you became better, because you became reliable. And that quiet consistency speaks louder than any words you could say, louder than any promises you could make, louder than any declarations you could announce, because people have heard promises before. They have seen declarations before. They have listened to big talk before, and they have watched it all amount to nothing. But when they see consistency, when they witness reliability, when they experience faithfulness, that gets their attention, that earns their trust, that opens their doors. Because consistent people are rare, reliable people are uncommon, faithful people are exceptional, not because they are perfect, because they show up every time. Without fail, without excuse, without drama. Let me tell you about Joseph. You know his story. Sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, thrown into prison for a crime he did not commit, forgotten by the cupbearer he helped. Years of suffering, years of injustice, years of waiting, years of serving in places he should not have been, doing work he should not have had to do, enduring circumstances he did not deserve, for over 13 years, from age 17 to age 30, 13 years of consistent faithfulness in unjust situations. Genesis 39:2-6 records what happened in Potiphar's house. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and of all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. The Lord gave him success in everything he did, not because Joseph was free, because Joseph was faithful, not because Joseph's circumstances were fair, because Joseph's consistency was real. Even as a slave, even in a foreign land, even in an unjust situation, Joseph was consistent. He worked with excellence. He served with integrity. He showed up with reliability. Every day, whether he felt like it or not, whether it was fair or not, whether anyone noticed or not, he was consistent. And that consistency caught Potiphar's attention. That reliability earned Potiphar's trust. That faithfulness resulted in Joseph being put in charge. But then he was falsely accused, thrown in prison for years. Genesis 39:21-3 records what happened in prison. But while Joseph was there in the prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Same pattern, different place, same consistency, different circumstances, same faithfulness, different injustice. Joseph did not let unjust circumstances steal his consistency. He did not let unfair situations destroy his reliability. He did not let painful experiences eliminate his faithfulness. He kept showing up, kept working with excellence, kept serving with integrity, in Potiphar's house, in prison, everywhere. Consistently, faithfully, reliably, even when it was not fair, even when it was not deserved, even when it did not benefit him immediately. And that consistency over 13 years positioned him for elevation in one day. Genesis 41 to 39:40 records Pharaoh's response after Joseph interpreted his dream. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." From prison to palace in one day. From prisoner to prime minister in one moment. From forgotten to second in command in one conversation. How? 13 years of quiet consistency. 13 years of hidden faithfulness. 13 years of unnoticed reliability in unjust places, in unfair circumstances, in painful situations. Joseph was consistent every day, every place, every situation. And that consistency positioned him for promotion that happened in a day but was built over 13 years. You want Joseph's promotion, but you do not want Joseph's consistency. You want the elevation, but you do not want the faithful years. You want the position, but you do not want the process. You want the palace, but you do not want the prison. You want the testimony, but you do not want the trial. You want breakthrough in a day, but you are not willing to be consistent for years. And that is why you do not have Joseph's story. Not because God is unfair, because you are inconsistent. What if your 13 years is now? What if your prison season is currently? What if your hidden years are happening? What if your quiet consistency right now is positioning you for promotion later? What if your faithfulness in this unjust situation is preparing you for elevation in the next situation? What if your reliability in this unfair place is qualifying you for authority in a better place? Will you remain consistent? Will you stay faithful? Will you keep showing up with excellence even when circumstances are painful, even when situations are unjust, even when nobody notices? Because that is what separates those who get promoted from those who stay stuck. Not talent, not luck, not connections, consistency. In painful places, in unjust situations, in hidden seasons, showing up with excellence, serving with integrity, working with faithfulness, day after day, year after year, decade after decade if necessary. That consistency, that faithfulness, that reliability positions you for promotion, qualifies you for elevation, prepares you for breakthrough. And when the moment comes, when the door opens, when the opportunity arrives, you are ready. Not because of one day of excellence, because of years of consistency. Colossians 3:23-24 gives you the mindset. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Work at it with all your heart. Not work at it when people are watching. Work at it always as working for the Lord, not for recognition, not for applause, not for immediate reward. For the Lord, because He sees, He notices, He records every consistent day, every faithful act, every reliable moment. He sees it all, and He rewards, not always immediately, not always visibly, but always He rewards those who work with all their heart, those who are consistent, those who are faithful, those who are reliable, even when nobody else notices, even when nobody else cares, even when nobody else applauds. He notices, He cares, He rewards. So your audience is not people. Your audience is God. You are not working for human masters. You are serving the Lord Christ, and He rewards consistency. He honors faithfulness. He blesses reliability. Maybe not today, maybe not this month, maybe not this year, but He will, at the proper time, in the perfect moment, when you are ready, when the opportunity is aligned, when the circumstances are positioned. He will reward, He will honor, He will bless your consistent, faithful, reliable work. Not because you earned it, because that is what He promises. That is what He does. That is who He is. And when that reward comes, when that blessing arrives, when that promotion happens, you will know it was worth it. Every consistent day, every faithful act, every reliable moment, all of it will have been worth it. Not because the reward is so great, though it will be, but because the person you became through consistency is who you needed to become. The character you developed through faithfulness is what you needed to develop. The integrity you built through reliability is what you needed to build. And that person, that character, that integrity is more valuable than any reward, more significant than any blessing, more important than any promotion. Because rewards can be lost, blessings can be squandered, promotions can be forfeited, but character built through consistency cannot be taken. Integrity developed through faithfulness cannot be stolen. Reliability proven through years of showing up cannot be removed. That becomes who you are, not what you have. Who you are, and who you are is more important than what you have. Because what you have can be lost, but who you are remains. And who you become through years of quiet consistency is someone powerful, someone influential, someone trustworthy, someone God can use, someone people can depend on, someone circumstances cannot shake. That is the quiet power of consistency. It does not just produce results, it produces character. It does not just create outcomes, it creates identity. It does not just generate success, it generates integrity. And that character, that identity, that integrity is what allows you to sustain success when it comes, what allows you to steward blessing when it arrives, what allows you to handle promotion when it happens. Because success without character destroys, blessing without integrity corrupts, promotion without reliability eliminates. But when consistency has built character, when faithfulness has developed integrity, when reliability has proven trustworthiness, you can handle whatever comes, whatever God gives, whatever doors open, whatever opportunities arrive, you can handle it. Not because you are perfect, because you are consistent. Not because you are exceptional, because you are reliable. Not because you are gifted, because you are faithful. So embrace the quiet, embrace the hidden, embrace the unnoticed, embrace the boring, embrace the repetitive, embrace the consistent. Because that is where power is built. That is where character is formed. That is where integrity is developed. That is where trustworthiness is proven. Not in the loud moments, in the quiet ones, not in the celebrated seasons, in the hidden ones, not in the recognized acts, in the unnoticed ones. That is where the quiet power of consistency builds something that lasts, something that matters, something that changes everything. And one day, not today, not tomorrow, but one day, that quiet consistency will become loud testimony. That hidden faithfulness will become visible breakthrough. That unnoticed reliability will become recognized authority. And people will marvel. They will wonder how you did it. They will ask what your secret is, and you will know. There is no secret. Just consistency. Just faithfulness, just reliability, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, showing up, doing the work, keeping commitments, being faithful, quietly, consistently, powerfully. That is the quiet power of consistency. It builds in silence, it works in hiddenness, it develops in obscurity, but it always, eventually, produces, always creates breakthrough. Always generates testimony, always results in blessing. Not immediately, not visibly, not obviously, but certainly, definitely, absolutely. Consistency always produces, faithfulness always pays, reliability always rewards, always, every time, without exception. For everyone who does not quit, for everyone who keeps showing up, for everyone who remains faithful. So do not quit, do not stop, do not give up on consistency, because consistency has not given up on you. It is still working, still building, still developing, still creating. You just cannot see it yet. But if you keep going, if you remain faithful, if you stay consistent, you will see it. You will experience it. You will become it. You will have the testimony. You will walk in the blessing. You will live in the breakthrough, all because of consistency, all because of faithfulness, all because of reliability. Quiet, unnoticed, unremarkable. Until one day it becomes loud, visible, remarkable, and everyone knows. The quiet power of consistency changed everything. So be consistent, stay faithful, remain reliable, show up, do the work, keep commitments, every day, without fail, without excuse, without announcement. Just show up. Just be faithful. Just be consistent, quietly, powerfully, completely. And watch as that quiet consistency produces loud results. As that hidden faithfulness creates visible breakthrough. As that unnoticed reliability generates recognized authority, watch as the quiet becomes powerful, as the small becomes significant, as the faithful becomes blessed, because that is what always happens. Always. When consistency is maintained, when faithfulness is proven, when reliability is demonstrated, the quiet becomes powerful. Always. And you will experience it. If you stay consistent, if you remain faithful, if you keep showing up, the quiet power of consistency will change everything. Everything. Watch.